through 2-2 record in Group A. Heroic head and shoulders above the rest, and we jump into the first pistol.
Indeed we do. We're going to see FPX looking to get some pretty heavy outside control, surfing on the top of that mini rooftop as the bomb is going to be over towards the outside area. Now leaning towards lower. Nico able to grab a good kill on the far leg, but Sticko now getting Locker's control, might be able to cut off some rotations, and it's going to maybe free up the T's to start getting this lower bomb side control. But as I say that, so far, we're seeing OG up to the task. They've already gotten 2 kills to their name between Alexa B and Nico, so they're well out in front in this round.
Yeah, doing a good job early on. 5v3, the dual Berettas of Alexi now posted up in heaven. Tries to rattle off a few shots. Sees a player dipping down into the vents. Oh, that's a beautiful one tap from Valder as well. Nullifying Zen. Bomb has been planted at the backside of the site, but when you consider there's still 5 of OG remaining, it's so hard to see how Sunny and Madden can hold on. And Alexi's dual Berettas rip through 3, and OG take the first round. But it is at the cost of a bomb plant, and therefore FPX have some decisions.
Yeah, certainly a situation where they allowed the bomb plant, sure, but they also did survive with all 5 players. So, I mean, they'll be able to retain their armor. They don't have to do any rebuying, and it allows them to be, good to go in this next round.
Hello. How are we doing? I believe we are continuing the game, guys. We'll try and give you some radio broadcasts. Good old school stuff, Dust. The classics here. So FunPlus Phoenix have gone for actually not a force buy, which is quite surprising and interesting, Dust, because they did get the bomb plant, and I think a lot of teams would pull the trigger and go for Galils. Instead, they got Deeks.
Do you want to try to act out what you're seeing on screen? Issa just took one to the head. He's dinked. Like that. That's good. We're trying.
Yeah, I don't have any weapons with me, strangely enough, so I can't pull out the deagle,
Can I still hear the in-game sounds, or can we do sound effects? Oh, never mind. We're back in game. People probably prefer that, to be honest, Vince.
Yeah, I feel like the acting was on point, Dust, but at the end of the day, people want those sweet visuals.
I really felt like I acted out Issa getting dinked pretty well.
You did. It looked good.
Oscar nomination incoming, for sure.
Definitely. Mantu and Alexi have both shipped in with kills. And yeah, the lack of buy, a little bit of a head scratch. A lot of teams would go for Galils, but maybe just trying to prioritize the AWP as soon as possible on far leg. Valder is just going to rattle through 3, and OG pick up their second without any casualties. They haven't lost a single player in both rounds.
I would say that's pretty good, Vince. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's perfect, right? I mean, you lost a little bit of health, I guess, so not quite perfection, but all in all, definitely the start that OG were hoping for. But here comes the full buyout from FPX. AKs across the board, solid utility for everyone. Everyone's got their head armor. Also, we see Sticko setting up out of an outside smoke. Alexa B is going to pre-nade that outside position, try to slow them down and at least get some chick damage, which he has chunked Sunny down to 58 HP, who's now tucked into the corner outside Mini. So some good early damage done from OG, but Issa has also been severely softened up in the mix. So both teams have a player kind of bleeding out, but both still stand with all 5 members rolling. As we see FunPlus Phoenix still trying to put this outside control into play. They are kind of running Rushly Strat there a little bit, but they also add an additional wall in front of Mini to cut off Leslie's vision. So they really just want to kind of push towards Garage and secure maybe some control towards Seeker. At least have Sunny get some presence there, and he actually does get the pick on the man too. So this is a nice opening from FPX.
Yeah, great start. They have lost a lot of health on a few players, but the same could be said for Issa. Now they're going to take their attention and force it down onto the ramp side. No one's home from OG. They've already rotated out of here, so FunPlus Phoenix have decisions to make. They will be pushing downstairs. Now, there has been a fast rotation from the CTs as well, so they can hold in position. It is the low Issa. It's on double doors, but now Valder and Alexi B have joined the call. Down goes Issa. Madden sprays in for another one. And FPX looking great now. After having not sustained any losses, OG have only posted up 1 frag in this round post-plant. And I do also wonder, with their economy not quite in that stabilized position yet, it seems to me they might be looking for exit frags, Dust. This is a bit more awkward for Valder, who's stuck downstairs. But the round feels like it's already a done deal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, FPX were able to, really get a nice, strong outside presence. They were able to get Sunny towards Secret. He was even able to find a pick despite having very low HP. And then they were able just to kind of swarm from that point forward and really just kind of lock it down. And as you said, all that OG can hope to do now is just save rifles, which Valda's doing a very good job of, by the way. Might even be able to swap into the AK if he so chooses. So they will go ahead and get an M4 onto Nico, but Valda does fall, so just the one rifle carried over. Nico upgraded off the XM to the M4, but that's going to be all that comes over. And yeah, like you said, money is a bit strained on that side, as we are going to see a timeout come in even from OG. I imagine this is tactical, just to kind of decide how they want to spend money, because obviously Valda has enough for a full buy here, but you have a couple of guys that are going to struggle to get a full purchase. Nico, I guess, could drop an M4 and buy, keep one for himself. That way someone else could buy armor and still be able to get utility. And so, yeah, that's kind of what they're sorting out here and now. As you can see, they are going to have that drop happen. They are going to have 3 players on M4s. Perhaps a 4th will even get a FAMAS. There it is for Issa, and then the Scout for Mantu. So not ideal, but it still gives them a chance to go out swinging in this round and have, something to greet FPX with. Though FPX will certainly be in the dominant position, as OG really want this because they could hard reset FPX and get them right onto a save again and really kind of keep that early momentum going. So this is kind of one of those force-up buys from OG that can have a huge reward at the end of it if it works out.
Only in round 4, and the importance of this is certainly known to both teams. Aggression early on through ramp for OG, but they're not going to be pushing too hard behind that. I thought Issa was maybe going to try and get up close, but he only has the FAMAS, so needs to tread lightly with that gun. They do have a bit of utilities. They've dipped down on a couple of plays. Still incendiaries on both Issa and Nico, but flashes are plentiful and bountiful. FunPlus Phoenix, though, definitely no lack of utility on their side of things, but they're taking this one far slower, maybe anticipating that OG may go for something like a lobby crunch.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. FPX kind of taking their time. They're not going for the strong outside presence right off the bat, though I do see a couple of players perhaps setting up smokes here on the minimap over towards the spawn. We are going to see Maiden moving into this upper bomb site here, but Valda able to catch him from many sides. So far, so good for OG on this force buy. They also have a tricky setup at ramp that if FPX want to fall back in the position, they're going to have to deal with a boosted player, which could be a really big problem for them. It's all about how they want to commit. And it seems like they're still kind of open to options, as Sunny has made his play once again to that secret position, which is going to give them some choices here.
Good spy grenade. Spray is good onto Nico. Takes him down with relative ease. Gets peeked again, though, from the Finn. And the head-to-head has come to fruition, and it will be Finland that triumphs over Denmark in this encounter. 20 seconds to play with. OG has done a great job with very little weaponry, but they've lost Alexi. Speaking of Finns, Sunny has sprung into action with his AK. And with 10 seconds, OG now need to try and repel the plant. Won't be forced without the grenade. Does good damage onto Zen. Another trade out. Issa with a FAMAS sticks the landing onto Zen, the early fragger. Sunny is still alive, though, on very healthy amounts of HP, and he's gone in for another one. It's a 3K now for him. And it's that scout that you mentioned before, Dust. It's not ideal, and especially not in retake situations.
No, certainly not. Not in a 1v2 where both players are still very healthy, and a lot of time has already ticked off the clock that Mantu would like to have to try to work something out. And obviously, again, they really had to spring for a lot of cash to make that purchase possible, so they're going to be struggling here coming into this next round. Very much going to be, full saving, I would imagine. Maybe a P250 here and there. We saw Mantu was trying to get over to an AK over there at Squeaky Door, but was unable to get there in time before the round transitioned. And so FPX, now that they have weapons in their hands, starting to look ferocious. And Sunny, again, a guy who has struggled so far in his debut with FPX in his most recent games, and obviously had a tough time at the end of his career on Imps. We see him coming out strong so far here on Nuke with 4 kills already in the 4 rounds played, and in particular, just getting that secret access and getting that threat to lower sight has been pivotal for FPX's success.
So the early Fulcrum point that we spoke of, the important round, has not gone the way of the CTs. So this is where the T's can really start to rip through some rounds, get that economy built up, and start to put that pressure down. OG, try as they may for some speculative shots through the smoke. Nothing's really connecting. There will be a post plant already coming into play. Looking very good for FPX to pick up yet another one. Zen nullifies Alexi and gets a second and a third as well. But these are, of course, eco frags by and large. Player really with anything was Mantu, and he's been dealt the fatal blow before Velda springs in with 1, and he is quickly repelled. So the lead now taken from FPX.
Indeed, they've been able to go on a string here after kind of suffering from the pistol round loss, but they played conservative. They got that money bonus from the plant, and then they've shuffled it into a full AK buy in round number 3, and they have not let their sights off the finish line since. But now we finally have OG's economic recovery, though Nico is going to be on the XM. This is one of those maps where it certainly can still be a factor, particularly in that hut position, being able to get up close onto people, up close on the door, or inside hut itself. So not surprised to see it come into play here, just to save a little bit of cash.
Sunny already down into Secret as well, though, Dust. I mean, we've already seen this a few times, and this is going to start to get worrying for OG if they can't plug this gap.
Well, what it does is it causes OG to have to respect the threat and rotate, and it creates gaps all across the map where they're going to be stretched a bit thin. They're going to have to be very quick on how they communicate rotations back and forth across the map. So just Sunny being there and being there so early, it just really makes things more stressful on OG defensively. They have to make decisions on whether they want to get aggressive somewhere or set up some type of gimmick angle towards ramp, or just whatever the case may be. It just is going to put that strain on them as, you know, now that they have it, FPX are content just to kind of sit back and let OG stew on it a bit, but now we see the slow down on Mini, and Maiden's looking for an entry in upper sight.
May very well get it. Catches it glimpse of Nico, who did get one before he fell down, and doing so, Madden was caught in a couple of awkward positions. So 3v2, OG have the advantage, and they're actually going to lock it down in the blink of an eye. They spray down everybody. And I was starting to worry about their economy. They lost secret control early on, and they still concede the round.
Yeah, it's just great on OG to be able to, you know, get something out of Nico's shotgun. Yeah, he went down from behind. He was able to control hut for a bit, get a kill, kind of start buying some time for some rotations. And they just traded very efficiently on that upper site. And in the blink of an eye, they kind of caught 2 kills. I didn't even really notice, to be honest with you. So certainly getting the ship steered right back on track as they will tie the game right back up. And this time a little bit of speed from FPX. We're going to get outside very quickly here. And this time it's more than just Sunny.
Taking point, oh, and he is down first. It's a bit longer. Zen, joined by his fellow countrymen, the two of them will be looking to try and get some early control down. Meanwhile, the rest of them, though, will be wrapping through rounds. Mantle is here, waiting with York, misses his shot. He has Issa alongside him, who misses everything.
Oh, no.
There's a team kill in there as well. I'm not quite sure what happens. Nico takes Farlig down in the back of the head. It's a 3-on-3 and just carnage.
Yeah, they were trying to do a little bit of a bait and switch there on OG by, you know, firing off the op shot and giving Issa a chance to kind of spring the trap, but unfortunately it did not work out. But a team kill still keeps the numbers even, which OG might be a bit thankful for, but obviously even numbers gonna favor the T-Style with this much time on the clock, and with them having Sunny in this deep of enemy territory. He's got a teammate with him here, and they have so many options now, whether they want to backstab ramp, whether they want to come up heaven. Nico's doing the smart thing by making sure he controls hut and knowing that he can like focus on so many angles at once. But Alexa B, that's a big kill, catching this sweep under heaven. Zen able to trade, gets it back to a 2-on-2. But again, I feel like Nico's playing this pretty smart, and it's still giving OG a chance.
30 seconds, but Zen has been splattered by Mantu's orb. And Madden will get pretty much riddled with bullets by Nico's MP9. So an excellent turnaround. OG do string 2 together, and now the economy of FPX is in the toilet.
Absolutely, and now you're seeing OG finding ways to respond to this early outside control from FPX. Like, even if they're losing some facets of the map, they're taking others back by Nico playing aggressive inside hut position and using that to get some intel, or at least kind of keep themselves safe and, again, just focus one direction. And so now it's going to be about whether or not FPX can take their next step in their tactical progression. Obviously, this round probably won't be it. It's mostly Glocks. So I imagine they'll be likely taking the loss here. OG should be going up to 5-3, but pretty even battle so far, I would say, here in this first half of Nuke.
Yeah, it really has been back and forth, as the score suggests, but even within the confines of some of these rounds, they've been very close. They've been nail-biters, and that's after OG just completely ran riot in the first couple of rounds. They didn't lose a single player, and then suddenly things got so much closer. Mantu, again, watching ramp, different angle. Same result, missing his first shot, but as he said, just being blocks and 1 deagle, it's going to be a massacre. And, oh, I was going to say Issa probably should clean this up. Honestly, 2 kills is already a W in my mind, considering the lack of weaponry they came out with. And maybe Zen can make it a bit more costly. Alexi says no.
Yeah, this is just like a small thing I'm noticing, Vince, and it's still early days, but do you kind of get the feeling that Mantu's a little bit shaky today? Like, it seems like he's missing a couple of sitters that he would normally hit. You know, the fact that he only got the 1 kill and then immediately got traded out by pistols kind of shocked me. I know he missed another one earlier, but he's also hit a couple of nice ones too, so I can't quite tell what his consistency level is at, but I feel like, again, he's going to have to be a huge factor for OG to secure this playoff spot. Not saying he's playing bad by any means. I mean, he's 3-3-3, so I mean, it's not like he's a boat anchor or something like that, but it just seems like a couple of shots that I would expect him to hit have gone awry. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye on. Meanwhile, Valda, you're getting exactly what you want out of him. Everyone else playing up to snuff. And over on the opposing side, again, you're getting about what you'd expect. I mean, Farlick has had a bit of a slow start, but T-side opping on Nuke can sometimes be a struggle. And I don't even know that he's had an op yet. I don't think they have the economy for it, really. So, yeah, we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out as we go forward.
Yeah, as a result of the scrappiness of how these rounds have gone, Farlick, I don't think has had an AWP.
No.
And I agree, Mantu doesn't quite seem that consistent powerhouse that we expect. You said yourself that, you look at someone like Valda, who's obviously the standout, but then Mantu is definitely up there. He's definitely one of those players that you look at to have big performances. And when you consider that next up is Overpass, if he's having a rough day, he can get found out really quick by FunPlus Phoenix.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it might just be like the first couple of official shots of the day, right? And so it may just take you a second to kind of fine-tune that precision. We have a double smoke, though, from FPX on one spot, which means there's a huge gap here, by the way. So there's been a bit of a miscommunication on smoke placement, which is not allowing Sunny to get that crossover to Secret that he normally has been getting. And Valda's already found a kill on the Sticko and is deep now at Squeaky Hall. So this is actually worrisome for FPX. This is great news for OG.
Gives him a fast pincer point as well to get round the back of them. There's Mantu not sticking, or I should say, is sticking the landing and gets his second one as well. He'll go down as Issa was ring around the box. And that cost Mantu his life. Not that it'll really matter because they take the round and they pick up the AWP.
Yeah, so that's some good shots there for Mantu. Now we're starting to see that consistency come into play. So I guess it was maybe just some early match, maybe not jitters, but just taking a second to get adjusted. And now he is. And FPX are in dire straits now. They're right back to pistols. That double smoke error on outside really hurt their options there. And then they just kind of got shut down on all fronts. Valda being able to get that deep positioning, and Squeaky, he's up to 14 kills already in 9 rounds played. He is absolutely teeing off. And that's great news for OG.
Alexi tries to spray through the smoke, realizing that this has been a consistent hotbed of FPX's aggression, where they really like to push down towards Secret side. Nico is there waiting for them. They've dropped the bomb down. It's just pistols, though, so it should very well go the same way. OG are looking very good after a couple of shaky moments, with FPX posting up 3 in a row. OG are in control, in command.
Yeah, and I imagine it's going to be very much the theme for at least the rest of this round, considering it's just pistols and only 3 players standing. They haven't really been able to get too much control here. And we have Valda even kind of just backstabbing through outside at the moment. So it does seem like FPX are well and truly pinned, and it would take some crazy deagle shots to break through at this point.
We'll get to hear those footsteps, and Valda has already wrapped around with 15 kills. His ADR is off the charts. There's another headshot. Bomb spills down once more. And Stiko, who's had a bit of a rough game, he's a player that really has turned his fortunes around in terms of his role play and his overall stats and performances. But Nuke has definitely been one to forget as far as he's concerned thus far. But maybe he can turn the corner, turn the page as he shuts that chapter on Alexi's life for round 10. But it's just a drop in the bucket, because who's waiting for him? It's Valda, and he's in form.
Dude, Valda's straight up just at the buffet line right now, just grabbing every item he can, putting it on the plate, and just munching it down. I don't know where I was going with that, if I'm being honest with you, but he's got a lot of kills, Vince, okay? I'm a little rusty. It's been a bit since I've commentated some Counter-Strike. I'm glad ESL's had us back, though. Appreciate you. Don't fire me yet. Give me a chance. As OG certainly aren't giving FPX many chances here recently. It's been a lot of the kind of buy-save rotation, as they have not been able to recover their economy or really get any type of consistency going on their round wins. And now I think the big problem is Stunny is not able to get that same secret control anymore. He's getting challenged up front. And it's been a real big problem for FPX, because that's kind of like your bread and butter, right? It's kind of like mid-control on other maps. It gives you so many options. It gives you a foundation to come off of. And if you can't get that, then you're really reliant on set pieces. And I'm not sure if FPX are going to be able to make that pivot or not.
Now, this is where that loose cannon, the Mad Dog himself, Madden, may very well be called upon to just do something crazy. He does it so often, but his aim lets him down. He is one of those players that lives or dies by the sword, by his aggression. Sunny goes in.
Oh, no.
Looking much better. The spray through the smoke is on point, and Alexi goes down. Stiko elsewhere, systematically just taking players down left and right. And Nico, the man with a lot of points to prove, well, he's left standing in a 1-on-4.
That's so tough. That was a great pickup in Mini and then a great incendiary on Squeaky to stop FPX from being able to make any progress on upper. Then he kind of just peeked behind it and gave his life away. And they got a pick elsewhere on the map as well. I think it was Sunny who outside was able to find one. And like kind of in the blink of an eye, OG lost complete control of the round despite a good start to it. I think maybe they got a little over-eager, maybe a bit of overextension. Either way, that's a great round from FPX, and again, a great showing from Sunny, who, you know, he's had his flaws throughout this map, but he's also had so much impact in a couple of key rounds that FPX have won. In fact, I think he's been like the guy getting opening picks for them in probably 2 or 3 of the 4 rounds they've taken so far. And finally, they get, you know, another round without having to get a hard reset, so it gives him a little bit of economy back, but Mantu gets a big opening pick here on the stick though, and what's gone on here? Alexa P just watches Zen jumping from the heavens, but is still alive. And you get some help from Valda, who cashes in.
Cashes in with 2. Farlig and Madden, last 2 players left alive. They are both on Squeaky's side. And because so much happened in such a short period of time, they still got a minute 20 to play with. They can actually play some mind games and try and divide and conquer what remains of OG. Alexi down to 19 HP. And they are watching their back just to make sure. Farlig goes in. Finally has a naught, but only 14 ADR. Has been a slow game thus far. 2 kills. Could become more, it won't. Nico not only represses him, but additionally Madden, and well, FPX finally get around us, and they just instantly get wrecked again.
Yeah, luckily they were able to build up some economy first, so it's not the immediate reset back to, you know, not having money to spend. They should still have enough to go for the full rifle buy here, though. Does Sunny have on a Mac 10, so that is a little bit of worry, especially since, again, he's had so much impact outside for this team. It's going to kind of limit his options. They might have to play a little bit faster or something a little bit more in OGCs to get, you know, maximum utility out of that Mac 10, but we'll just have to see.
Oh, Mantu again. Opening pick onto Madden. Now,
Remember how I was talking about how Mantu looked a little bit shaky? I think that's gone. That's out the window. Looking great.
He heard you, Dust. He's like, I want to prove that Dust wrong.
Seems doubtful, but
the openers.
Seems doubtful, but okay.
Now Farlig has also fell down by Nico's hands. Now Sunny did manage to vent dive, so that I think OG realized that's a possibility. They probably heard him go down there, and when you've already taken 2 players down, it definitely alleviates that pressure. Yep. So they can just put a player down there and feel pretty comfortable that they've got this one locked down still. Yeah,
you've said it better than anyone else could, I feel, as it seems like OG are well and truly in control of this. It would take a big play from FPX. They're going to have to force through to try to break this round back open. Now, Sunny does have control here in these back halls, but again, OG with the 5-on-3 have plenty of personnel to kind of man everything and not really give FPX an opening, while also not spreading themselves too thin as far as trade potential. So again, it's going to take FPX just making a big shot, a big play to somehow open this round back up.
Dwindling away, and there's no flashes, no smokes to proceed the push, and they have to deal with this. Zen can't move too far backwards, otherwise he dies to the Molotov. And that puts him in the firing squad. 10 HP left on the Finn, and 4 players with 23 seconds. Doesn't even have control over the bomb. At least sprays into Nico, makes this a bit more costly for OG. Another headshot comes in. Surely this isn't possible. The Molotov will at least fend away the player down in vent, but he's not going to be checking his left-hand side, and he is gone. He may even get knifed. There we go, stabby stab from Alexi, and there's no love between the Finns.
I was kind of wondering what was going on there, because I'm like, am I seeing this right? There's definitely a guy at Tetris, correct? And yeah, I guess he was just kind of deciding whether or not he wanted the knife or not. Might as well, I suppose. Though, I mean, it's a little bit risky because that guy was actually starting to reel the round back in a little bit. So if somehow he whiffed on that knife, it would have put his teammate in a 1 versus 1, which I'm sure he wouldn't have been happy about, but to each their own. Alexi makes it work.
So that second timeout they've called, Dust.
Yeah, they're getting dealt with here pretty handedly at this point. Like, it was pretty close to start, a bit of a back and forth, but it seems like OG have well and truly been in control of the defense here for a good period of time now at this point. I mean, I'm trying to think, don't have the timeline in front of me here, but it's been, what, like 5 of the last 6 have gone their way or something like that? I think they had like a 5 streak there going for a bit. So definitely doing some big things.
Yeah, they got 3 rounds FPX. They won 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Then we had 5 in a row from OG. FPX won another one, and then it's just been one-way traffic. So,
Yep.
been a bit lopsided for the T's. Now they're going to be
Another
looking
low
to
buy,
try and get
too.
aggressive again. And yeah, they are. They're on a Mac 10. They're on a couple of Galils. It does afford them a bit more utility, but firepower is distinctly lacking.
No, you're absolutely right. They're trying to go ahead and put this pressure onto the ramp room that will force Issa into that lower site. But again, that's kind of a calculation that a lot of defenses are going to make, is just to go ahead and give that up. Mantu flashed off the corner as well. So FPX have done well to get full ramp room control. It's the first time they've really committed this many resources to it, and they've got it clean. So that is certainly nice. It opens up some options, but it seems like OG are doing well to kind of reposition and kind of pick up where they need to not allow FPX to make any more forward progress. But it could lighten this upper defense just a bit, or at least make rotations a bit slower, so FPX could maybe find a way to explode in the site. And as long as they can trade efficiently, they have a chance to get something going here.
They can take down Valda early. I feel like there's every chance they win this, because it's very top-sided in terms of him. He's on 20 kills already, gets forced out and sprayed down. That's exactly what they were looking for. Now Nico stuck in the back of the site, pulls out the HE. There's flashbangs, actually save his life, and there's a bit of spray coming out from main as well. Now Nico can hold his ground, getting warm before Mantu chips in with the AWP. And suddenly down to a 3-on-3, but the T's have control over A site.
Yeah, and they have a smoke down on Mini. They have a chance to plant. There's no Heaven presence yet from OG, so that gives them a full amount of safety to plant and start repositioning here for the post-plant hold. They'll have one hut, one inside lobby, and just Sunny inside site watching Mini. Zen will pivot over to kind of keep an eye on Heaven. So it's all going to come down to whether or not OG can break through. They do have some utility to use.
HE banks off the wall, does significant damage to Sunny, but Zen's position is too good alongside Stiko, and Mantu now has to pull the plug, tap out, and go save his AWP. And that's kind of what I was talking about, Dust. If Valda dies, there is so much firepower and so much form that goes with him, and I do worry for OG on the T side. Can he keep that kind of form up?
Yeah, that was just a good play, though, from FPX, right? I mean, they get solid ramp room control. They get it clean. They don't lose anyone. And what it does is it forces OG to have to commit resources to lower. They have to respect that drop. And that means that the 2 upper defenders are not going to have as much of a support system anymore as far as being able to get a quicker rotation. And so FPS can kind of play the numbers at that point. They get up there. They take Valda out pretty early. They did let Nico get one, which I was kind of surprised by. But all in all, they still wound up getting a good post-plant 3-on-3. They held good angles to make sure that the Heaven retake was not going to come into play. And they finally get another round on the board with 1 round left to go in the half. And yeah, it's still a chance for FPX to make a good showing here on this T side. They can win this final round.
Oh, absolutely. I think 9-6 would be a very decent scoreline, all things considered, in the context of how this half has gone. OG will feel like they've let this one slip. 10-5, though, would definitely put them in the driver's seat. There's no two ways about it, as Mantu tries to get some prey outside. Nothing's forthcoming, though. One of the few rounds where FPX haven't aggressively taken outside, but now they're going to mix up the pace.
Yeah, now they're going to start committing here. Lexi trying to get back into Mini safely around that smoke. He's able to do just that. Mantu gets a nice opening shot, and he's able to get away, and he feels that threat from that top silo. Meanwhile, Issa's gotten a pick elsewhere on the map. I believe that was probably ramp room. So another quick 5-on-3 here for OG. They've had so many of these, Vince. And it's so hard to come back from this if you're on the FPX side.
And a lot of those picks have been from Mantu's hands. You've got to give him a lot of credit. You've got to give OG a lot of credit as well, as they lead 10-5. We're heading to halftime, and we're heading to a break, guys. Stay tuned. Alrighty, here we go. A 10-5 half lead to OG, but they'll be looking at that score and thinking what could have been, Dust. Because honestly, that could have been 12 or so rounds, but FPX at least mounted a bit of a mini comeback towards the end, and now we're jumping into this second half pistol.
Indeed we are. This is a big moment you had to imagine, especially for the side of FPX. They really need this to steer it close as soon as possible, as we are going to see an upper explosion here from OG.
Falling at the back of the site will need to land some shots, and it's gone begging as Nico and Issa put down the bodies with 2 frags. Alexi also with a headshot through the smoke just to add insult to injury. And now Stiko and Madden, with only 16 HP on Madden, well, I don't want to say it's impossible, Dust, but it's getting pretty close to that mark. Do you think it's okay to say it? Right, this is impossible.
Yeah, all right. Because here's the cool thing about this, Vince, is like, if it works, then it just makes it an even cooler story because we said it was impossible. There's no losing for us. I mean, other than being called bias or something, which, you know, it is what it is.
Noob casters didn't believe in a 2v5 on A site Nuke.
Sometimes you got to play the heel, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fully.
I would know it all too well.
Sure. Madden knows Valder's Glock all too well as the bullet passes between his eyes, and that is the second pistol for OG, and I feel like FPX in real trouble.
All right, Valda getting 1 kill and 121 damage in round 16. What a legend. I think the bigger story is that he's got 22 across the map, and his ADR is probably something obnoxious. I would imagine it's probably like 130-ish. We'll see in a second, I'm sure.
Not far off. Has to be. The stats don't lie. 22 frags. Meanwhile, Farlig on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. He's had a very rough game so far. Issa moving outside, taking a leaf out of FPX's playbook. But as you said, outside is basically like the middle aspect of Nuke, where it affords so many extra opportunities. Valdo puts a bullet in the head of Zen and will alleviate some of the pressure.
Yeah, he was at 125 ADR for the map until he got that frag, so I imagine it's gone up just a little bit. So, well, it's close. So we're going to see OG looking to try to roll that advantage forward as Issa will find Maiden in the back calls through Secret. So another 5-on-3 for OG. I feel like I've said that a lot this game. What's to be expected in this round, obviously?
You know, it was typically off just Mantu or Valda getting the opening couple of picks, and then just they kind of fell back into this turtle formation and said, you know, come at us, you know, you got to get the bomb planted, and FPX just always seemed to stumble, trip, and fall. Now, speaking of which, they're falling down Secret at a pretty fast rate now. 4 players going down there. Farlig may have an opportunity with the scout, but the smoke is going to afford some safe passage, and it seems like OG have decided better off that decision. They're going to actually start to hit towards main instead.
Yeah, not a bad idea. It's been spotted, though, by Farlig, and he's also found the dome of Mantu, put it right in his forehead to get one back. Looking for more here from Hebney. Those are coming upper, but now he's been dealt with, and so the 4-on-2 looking real good for OG here as they have full control of upper site and just a couple of deagles still left in play for FPX, and they're well out of position in this lower site. Might as well save the deagles and armor at this point, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a hard agree on that one because, you know, you've already forced in, you have no money left. Gives you at least something to play with into the next round, even though it's a grim situation. Obviously, it's pretty bleak, but better that than full USPs.
Could they even maybe get outside and pick up Mantu's weapon, I wonder? I'm not sure if OG would have disposed of it somehow or if they have someone covering it. So that is maybe another thing that could come into play. I think they have one player out there. So maybe unlikely that they could actually get to it.
12-5 though, Dust, and yeah, the weapon won't get picked up, so FPX have a couple deagles and a couple of Kevlar, but that's basically it.
And so it's looking real good for OG to get to number 13. As they are firing on all cylinders for the most part, Vince. I mean, obviously Valve is kind of in the stratosphere right now at 23, but everyone else has been pitching in, doing their job. They're certainly out-fragging their opposition man for man.
Yeah, just comprehensively outplayed across the board. There's not really anything you could look to for FPX other than maybe Zen, who we had him in our head-to-head, and of course, as I say, his name, he gets killed. So just classic Caster's Curse. I do apologize, Zen, but
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Own it. Eat a boot on stream. As got anything else in the tank there, bud? You good? We good?
All good.
Okay, cool. So we're seeing OG Looking to try to get something going here towards outside. Smoke ball in play, flashes over. Sunny just shooting some prayers out there, but not going to land any marks. As we have the fully healthy OG now storming into the lower site, just looking to flex this firepower advantage and roll up to a 13th round. Not too much going to stop them, except for those 2 carried over Deagles. I think there's a 5-7 and P250 out there as well.
Pico hears the control room window getting shattered, but his head is not long for this world afterwards. Mantu puts it in pretty comfortably in the end, and FPX have already lost 2 players, as you said, just pistols across the board. It's looking like this map could be over pretty quick, though, so when you think that this is FPX's choice of map as well, and we're heading to Overpass next, I do worry for their best-of-3 prospects.
It does call it into question. That is certainly the case. When you look at a map like Overpass, I feel like it's a map that, again, OG are 50-50 on for the most part, maybe slightly over 50%. They have lost their last 3 games in a row, though, however, and their most recent game against Heroic was a blowout. So that is kind of one thing working against them, though they have beaten Liquid and Fnatic a couple of times just prior to that. So, again, kind of 50-50 for them. Over on the FPX side, you look at a map like Overpass, and I don't know. It definitely doesn't have that same ring to it as Nuke has for them, that's for certain. But certainly there are no slouches on it. I think they're like at a maybe 60% win rate or so. And you look at their most recent games there, they've also lost their last 3 in a row. So kind of similar stories, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting ones where you look at the stats, it doesn't necessarily bode well for either team, but OG obviously... Sure. I mean, I was about to say I've gone through the transitional phase. You could say the same for FPX. You know, it's kind of what we're talking about in the pre-game segment as well. No warp for OG, but they're keeping their Galils. 4 of them in total. This is a bonus round in every sense of the word because they have plenty of money to fall back on if this is unsuccessful. So FPX have got to get this round.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If not, they're forced buying the rest of the game, and it's going to be pretty slim pickings as far as what resources they'll even have, as we are going to see the upper take, and Issa hits a blinder on the Sunny. Mollies are down, Maiden rotating, but only to meet his demise. And again, OG have such a quick 5-on-3. The opening picks have just been favoring OG just the vast majority of the game. And the thing is, the opening picks, it's not even like, oh, we got a quick 5-on-4. No, it's we got a quick 5-on-3. And that's happened so many times this game. And the playing back from that is just so grim. And now they just have to kind of put tail between legs, run back to spawn, save this op and M4, because that's all they're going to have next round pretty much, other than whatever they're able to force together. And so, I mean, OG are well and truly dominating this game.
Oh yeah, the stats don't lie. It's not as if we've had a bunch of like 1v1, 2v2s. Like this,
sure,
for the most part, has been an absolute bloodbath. And you see that when you look at the overall frags, only 1 player as we move into round 19 has over 10 kills on the side of FPX. 1.
Yeah, and most of the victories that FPX have had, or excuse me, that OG have had throughout this game, they survived with, you know, like 3 or more members. Many rounds where they've survived with 4 or 5 players. I mean, in this half, they've only lost... Like right there, they just lost their 2nd player of the entire half in the 4 rounds played.
And the other side of that as well, Dust, is we're moving into actually round 20, and no one on OG has died more than 9 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's an incredible... You very rarely see a stat like that.
No, I mean, kind of pick your poison as far as what stats you want to use to just show, again, how dominant this game really has been in favor of OG. There's been a couple of confident rounds from FPX. Again, early on in their T side, they showed some signs, but after that, they've pretty much gone out with a whimper. And now in this round, again, they bought what they can, but it includes an MP9, a Deagle. They do have the 3 M4s. They don't have much utility other than Farlig. And so it's looking like the final I's are being dotted, the final T's being crossed here for Nuke.
That certainly feels to be the case, but they need somebody to maybe just throw that book out the window and start afresh, open a new chapter, because FPX, they're going down with the whimper. There's no 2 ways about it. Maybe Zen is the guy to rally the troops, and maybe one last roar before they do go the way of the Dodo Man downstairs alongside Farley. 2 of the weaker players with a Deagle and MP9, but Farlig still sticks the shot. He will go down. No, he won't actually. He gets a second frag. That's unreal. And he gets a third on top of it. Out of nowhere, Farlig has sprung into action and is just straight up running through OG. Where was this earlier on in the half?
Yeah, that's finally a big showing here from FPX, their first round of the second half. One of the few rounds they have to their name in total on the game. Seems like OG hit a bit of a banana peel there. But you have to wonder how many more of those do FPX actually have in store for OG, who have consistently been the dominant force in this game. Is that finally the first step in the right direction, or was that just a blip on the radar, an outlier? Time will tell, as of course OG still able to fully max out here and still have money to spare, thanks to their dominant early half performance.
Yeah, it feels like connecting Deegs back to back to back downstairs, probably not a strat that you can rinse and repeat too often, Dust, and feel too confident about. So they need to make a believer out of us, is what I'm trying to say. It's all well and good getting that one round. I'm not saying it's a fluke. Definitely a lot of skill thrown in the mix, but I doubt OG are going to walk into that trap too many times, and Valda activates again, and it's Sunny, and it's been destroyed by the Dane's hands.
Yeah, and he has a read that there's more as well aggressing through that lobby position. So he's staying safe on this roof side, and he's able to find yet another on the far leg. So Vince, name a more iconic duo than OG in an opening 5-on-3 situation.
OG and winning the round, I guess.
Yeah, that is actually pretty solid. You got me on that one right away. Wow.
It's looking like they're going to do it as well, Dust.
Yes, it does.
Unless Deco can just pull the rabbit out of the hat. First kill does go his way. A bit labored, but finally gets it done. However, his position is now known, and he has to deal with Nico. He has a good read of this scenario, though. He has a good understanding as to where these players could be, but that's only half the struggle. And on top of that, post-plant is always going to be in an awkward position as he moves forward, and he gets his head removed. Of course, it's the man Valda, who's 3 kills off a 30 bomb.
Yeah, I think the only thing stopping him from doing it is time. You know, I mean, I feel like OG will be able to win before he gets his opportunity, but certainly it was on pace to do so. He has just been, again, out of this world so far on Nuke. No one even close to him on the server. Closest guy from him is still almost 10 kills away in Alexa B, so he's definitely had a hell of a match. And now this is last chance saloon for FPX on Nuke at least. Again, playoff spot on the line, and this is their map pick.
Yeah, that's the most damning stat of all, perhaps. It's not as if, you know, OG have picked Nuke and they've just run away with their choice and next up is a weak one. No, I don't think this is going to get too much easier for FPX. For me, though, a lot comes down to can Valda keep this form up, because if he drops off, then I think we get a much closer affair on our hands. You can't expect the guy to be dropping this level of performance every single map. Yeah,
but the other thing you have to think about is Mantu. Well, on the op, you know, if he keeps playing like he has been on Overpass, where the op on the CT side is just so pivotal, you know, that could be another thing. But that's a great angle from Farlig, getting up on the corner in secret, finding Mantu. That's a nice shot that gets them one of their few openings they've had throughout this game.
Yeah, exactly. One of the first times that we can say that FPX have had an advantage. And now they need to hold on to this advantage. Zen with a good spray. Farlig changing up the angles. Very aggressive angle with the ult, but it's worked out for him. Love to see that. He burns alive, but Zen is there to pick up the pieces. And it's looking good that FPX at least will survive with one more. And Valda, well, he's a dead man.
Yeah, big plays from Farlig there. Like you said, just being fearless up close in the pocket with the AWP and coming up with 2 big kills. The first one's kind of a bit of a trickery. The second one was a bit of patience, but then being willing to take the step forward when he needed to. Whether or not he can replicate that is a different question, as he's had his struggles throughout this map so far. Granted, they never really had the economy to get the op rolling on the T side, but now he's got it for the CT side, and if you can keep up actions like that, there is actually some hope for FPX to reel this thing into a closer situation.
Well, can OG finish it off, or will their economy break first? Deco has been broken down to 25, but still alive as he limps away. Farlig does get tagged alongside Nico, but Mantu's position is so aggressive. I love this. Any rotations through towards heaven, and they will get pincered off. And I love also that OG have read the situation. They say, okay, look, we don't actually have to hit B. We're in a really good spot here with Mantu and Alexi B. We can actually hit A and have 2 players go up heaven.
Yeah, Niller gets double op as well. So that's another thing that OG can factor in. Like, you have a 5-on-5, you have a lot of good map control. They're getting even more now with Let's It Be a Mento actually sneaking through towards Under Heaven. Like, this is a nightmare for FPX. Luckily, though, they're able to get aggressive and squeaky and find a couple of kills thanks to Maiden. Nico does trade it back, but still advantage for FPX.
A nightmare was brewing, but it seems like they forced themselves awake out of that sleep paralysis and get themselves back into action. Zen and Sunny still healthy. Stiko's not, but they do have the player advantage, and Nico, who got tagged very early on, is still alive. Alexi, who's been down in hell for what feels like forever, maybe looking to jump into heaven and bless some of these FPX players with a barrage of bullets. 30
I was waiting for a
seconds.
Freddy Krueger reference to come in at some point there. It was brewing. Not going to come to fruition. Alexa B, though, does get the read on the top HUT player, but that flash did not help him out there. Nico was trying to get him an advantage with the pop flash. Didn't quite pan out. Sticko comes up through lower. Gonna grab the frag there. Decides against a second op being collected. They will just go the solo op setup on this one. I'll be able to pass it over with the far leg. So another round goes the way of FPX. So they're starting to build a little bit of something here. I think that they would have to hit maybe that 11 round mark or so before you'd start to really give some credit to the comeback. But they're starting to get those first steps in the right direction at least.
Sure. Even that round was far from clear or convincing. It was scrappy. We saw a ton of frags come in basically a second all across the map.
It was all Maiden, really. Like, that push through Squeaky for the 2 kills, I think, was the X factor there. Without that, it very easily could have been game over.
Yeah, and those are the pushes that weren't working out from earlier on, so it's good to see he's getting some success now. OG had a few players that could afford, but they decided that overall they'd like a collection of grenades and, of course, weaponry. When it comes to it, Madden holding vents will be pressured and pushed in again. A lot of damage has been put down to Issa, who gets finished off, but Madden's life comes to an abrupt end, and that will be an M4 trading hands. And Valda, he's got Kevlar behind him. If there's one player on the server you'd want in this position, it's the Dane. Now Farlig is peering down onto Decon and does dish the fatal blow. It's looking good for another round for FPX, but it's at great cost, and it will be a post plant. So OG, considering they just had pistols, I'd say that's a W.
Yeah, that was the primary goal, right? Was to get that bomb plant, get the extra funds to make sure you get a nice, full, comfortable round in the next round, and they have accomplished that, and they do force some rebuying out of FPX at the very least. Though at this point, they have to win out, so it doesn't matter as much, and they do have the funds still able to replenish here, so not going to get caught in some weird situation where they're coming in with inferior firepower despite the victory. As we are going to see OG call for a technical timeout, their second of the game. Not a bad time to do so. You are starting to see signs of FPX coming alive. Zen obviously having a heck of a game. Farlig is even starting to tee off a bit now that he has an AWP in his hands consistently. And so not a bad idea to slow the game down a little bit, reconsider. I think that OG are still, based on what we've seen, completely capable of closing this thing out.
Well, I'd be surprised if they don't. I mean, at FPX, we're seeing them sort of shrug off the cobwebs a little bit and warm up, but I still feel like they've left it too late.
But you forgot one factor, Vince, and that's you and I are doing a CSGO match together, so we are destined for overtime.
True. That you do. Well, that
do.
might be for overtime on Overpass, though, maybe. Maybe that's... I'm totally down for that. Overpass is a great map. I'm not saying that Nuke isn't, but for me, Overpass is definitely above that.
Own it.
I actually like Nuke. I'm one of the few people... You know this. I like playing Nuke.
It's just a nightmare to follow sometimes. Luckily, ESL has done a great job with this kind of... their version of the minimap. Makes it a little bit easier to keep track of things, so... Also, just liking the HUD in general. Permanent KDA on the player bars. It really stepped it up, so... Get us all the information we need as viewers and commentators. Love it.
Secondary smoke has been put down onto Squeaky, just replenishing a bit of score of vision across to OG. And they're still playing this one passively. They've got a player up on the T side of Roof, that's Issa. The rest of them kind of filtering out. They have all their angles covered. But that's only half the problem, and there's 55 seconds left. So they need to start moving forward, and that could be into the very capable hands of Stiko, who has a secondary AWP over on ramp.
Yeah, it's all going to come down with that. They're able to flash him off the angle or jump across and bait the shot out and force him down. But time is ticking, so they're not going to have the fortune of getting ramp control and being able to sit on it and messing with FPX. They're going to have to commit to something pretty quickly. So we are going to see that they're putting some utility down over towards upper side, looking to put there. They do push Sticko off. He misses the shot, is forced down, but Maiden has gotten first blood.
Yeah, Maiden's locked it down elsewhere. Now, Stiko can fall back to the site. 20 seconds to play with. Good flashbang, but no follow-up damage just yet. Mad2 goes in on Madden. Will they check this angle? Well, if they weren't before, now they definitely will. And Stiko survives longer than I anticipated, but finally does meet his fate. Farlig with the Deagle. 8 seconds to play with. Can he deny the bomb plant? No, goes a bit too aggressive and gets killed. Zen can deny the bomb plant. He could just win this round. It's all down to Zen. And just purely off timing, he gets it done and keeps FPX afloat.
Indeed. I think it was so big that even though Sticko is in such a rough position, having an op, that he was still able to find 1 kill and just slow that lower attack down a couple of extra seconds, which ensured FPX would win as long as they kept disrupting the bomb plant, which Zen was, of course, able to do by pushing through the back halls into sight and taking care of business. So it was one of those situations where it wasn't a bad game plan from OG. It just took a little bit too long to get rolling, and they couldn't account for Sticko playing a tricky angle and just, you know, again, putting them to a bit of a halt on their initial push into lower sight. And so now we have another pause coming into play. This one might be technical. I did hear that there was some typing going on in the previous round, so maybe something has to be taken care of.
You hate to see that in potentially one of the last rounds of the map, that there could be some technical problems coming up. Hopefully they get resolved soon. As obviously, if we get any notice of what's going on, we'll relay that back to you guys. But in the time being, I suppose we can kind of have a little discussion as to how the map's gone so far. It does 15-10, as you can see. And FPX looking like it was going to be a bloodbath, honestly. It looked like it would be 16-7, 16, sort of 6 even scoreline. So the fact that they've brought this back to 15-10 and now they're actually putting that pressure back on OG, that's pretty considerable. You know, I have to say that Valda, who's been phenomenal in this map, and this is by no means me trying to, you know, blame him or anything for OG not getting across the finish line, but these last few rounds, FPX have done a good job of shutting him down. And when he's running out of steam a little bit and he's gone down early, it does feel like OG struggled to pick up the slack.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the T side's always going to be a little bit tougher, especially, you know, on the CT side, they were able to get really early momentum and just keep resetting their opponent's economy because they never could get more than a couple of rounds in a row. And so they had kind of an easy time. They're also getting opening picks, you know, very early on, whether it was outside, whether it was just Mad2 being a dynamic opper, whether it was, you know, their aggression inside Hut or Squeaky. And they were able to get so many quick 5-on-3 advantages that they never really had to work for the rounds. Like, they were able to just pop off early and then kind of ride it out. Now you're getting tested a bit more. Now you're having to kind of weather yourself through situations where maybe you're a player behind or maybe you're low on time and things are getting a little bit more stressful. And again, now you're on the T side of a map that does require a lot of coordination. You have a new 5th on the team and you're trying to figure out how to get him in his role and him comfortable. And it definitely adds a new set of things to be responsible for and have to sort out. So that certainly is going to come into play. And now the pressure's on all of a sudden because now, you know, you've seen your big lead start to really wither away. Granted, they still have a good bit of cushion. They still have the, you know, economy to get a buy going into this round. But if you lose here, all of a sudden money does become an issue. And all of a sudden FPX are right on your heels. They're only a few rounds away from forcing an overtime, which again, I really think is happening just because we're casting together. Like, I'm almost certain of it.
Well, OG are certainly hoping that's not the case. They can put this to bed sooner rather than later and get to overpass.
But, you know, we got to get our money's worth, Vince. It's been a bit since we've been on the casting booth together, and happy to be here, though. Had a pretty good game so far.
It's been a strange game as well, hasn't it? Because like you had one point, it was what, 3-3 early on. FPX were mounting like a real effort on their T side, and then things just went horribly wrong. They went pear-shaped. They started getting absolutely destroyed, and we're thinking, okay, this is just super one-sided in favor of OG. And then this mini comeback has been starting to come in, and even within the confines of this comeback, it never felt like FPX were fully in control.
No, that's fair. As we did indeed have a technical issue, but we were able to get the player back reloaded. We were able to reload the round. Technology events. It's so great.
Good old
Remember the days
medic.
of the manual replay?
I've tried my best to forget that, Dust, if I'm being honest. That was pure pain. Like, actual
that was pain. No, you get this kill first. Now you need to throw your smoke grenade.
I'm going to sound like the boomer I am here, but people don't know how good they've got it now compared to how esports used to be.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
really.
You remember when we had to, like, do screenshots inside of smokes to prove that we weren't cheating? That was good.
Yep. Good times. Good times. All right, well, it looks like the technical issues have been resolved, and we're ready to get right back onto the saddle. OG still 5 map points, but FPX have been mounting a comeback. It's not a full buy. They're going to decide to dip down to just Valder on the hero buy, and why the hell not? Because he's capable of doing that. Just running straight in, getting the first kill.
Indeed, he might not be done yet. Never mind, Sunny will silence him, but it's at a huge cost, down to 1 health, but no one's been able to trade it yet, and Farlig's found this pick outside, so as the dust begins to settle, FPX are up in a 4-on-3, though again, Sunny is quite vulnerable. They've been able to recycle that AK out of Squeaky Hall. Now Nico will have it, and he'll perch up, looking to see if someone's going to look to cross this position. Looks like Sunny does want to use that smoke to get back over towards mini side. Maybe even get into the vents. Indeed, he will drop down. So time still in play, but FPX certainly have the edge.
They assuredly do. Madden playing an angle we haven't really seen FPX perched in just yet. Does get the drop onto Nico. That's the bomb that goes with him. Farlig, oh, this is a little bit scary, but still connects it onto Alexi and goes back in for seconds and keeps himself alive.
Yeah, this is a great sign from Farlig to get shots like that. Again, I feel like he was one of the oppers in the Danish scene that obviously didn't get as much attention because of how well Acor was playing on Mad Lions, and obviously have Device over in Astralis, and so you were kind of wondering, like, who's that next up-and-coming opera from the Danish scene, and I think it is Farlig. I really do. I think he's been kind of, you know, really proving himself in the last couple teams he's played on. And while he had a slow start today, certainly he's starting to get fired up again, which is great news for FPX to have a chance at the comeback here. But here comes OG full bot, and they're going fast.
Oh yeah, they want this over with. They're going to just pick up the pace, take it directly to FPX. We haven't seen too many aggressive pushes like this from OG. It's been more methodical, meticulous.
Is this like a world record bomb plant?
Must be. It was super fast. Straight downstairs, straight through the vents to a B-site plant. You can see that FPX have barely lost any damage. So they have full utility nearly to go for the retake.
I think they got the bomb planted as fast as you possibly could on lower site.
Definitely feels that way. Means that there's 2 incendiaries and plenty of flashes left at their disposal as Alexi goes in. Stiko and Sunny, though, are both chipped in with kills. Matu's going to hold the line onto Stiko. The bomb is starting to get diffused right now. Valder needs to peek this. He needs to deal with this. Otherwise, it will just get diffused right under their noses. And even though Valder is putting many bodies down in the dirt, they still concede.
That looked so convincing from the start from OG, but it felt like they just got caught their pants down. A couple of players got caught, I think, trying to pull out utility, and so they were free kills. Obviously, Valor didn't really know if he could fully commit to swinging on the diffuser. He was waiting for his teammates to kind of be that support factor as they were coming through ramp room after cutting off a rotation, and it just seemed like that spiraled downward almost as quickly as the bomb got planted. As now it's 3 rounds away from a potential overtime here. FPX really starting to put the hurt on OG, and that big lead is all gone.
Yeah, we said that 11-12 round mark is where we start to believe, and we've reached that point. But more importantly, FPX are beginning to believe. Their confidence is spiking. Their aim is on point. These are jewels that they were losing so often earlier in the match. And Alexi can only post up 1 frag. And they got completely battered again, Dust.
I'm telling you, buddy. I told you from the rip. Overtime. I'm holding on to it. Feeling good about it. That was a big round from Sunny. Absolute shutdown on the upper site, thanks to that man with his 3. And he showed us some good signs in the first half, having some early impact on some of their outside takes when they were getting their first T rounds. And now he's starting to come back alive as well here in the second half with a big round there. Gets him back to positive. Again, Farlig starting to show some great work. Zen's been on point the whole time. And so this is getting really scary for OG. They've been on map point for quite a bit. Now they only have 2 more cracks at ending this in regulation. It feels like they've had some good ideas, Vince, to be honest. Like, again, even that quick lower take was well designed. It's just they kind of fell apart in the mid round. So, I mean, they're definitely showing some good signs. They just can't quite get them all lined up at the same moment.
Yeah, and that's the aspect you've got to give FPX a lot of credit for, that they've dealt with a lot of different sides and takes from OG. They haven't been one-dimensional. They've tried aggression, they've tried outside control, and everything's been thwarted. Again, Zen in the right position at the strike. He puts down the first frag, goes in for more, doesn't quite get it, but Alexi gets tagged down to 37 in the process.
That's a huge kill, though, to get it back into a quick 4-on-4. You could see that Zen was trying to go for a bit extra. I don't know if that was some type of one-way smoke or something that was in the back halls, but he tried to perch up on that railing and see if he could get a little bit more out of the situation. Wound up not working out. Had a great time, though, to get that initial peek off on such an aggressive push-up secret. Now, Sunny will recapture that space. He's going to get a lot of intel that they're not committing outside, and depending on how far he wants to push this, he could really put a hurting on OG, as they will have complete knowledge of exactly where OG are positioned. And indeed, it looks like he is not done. He's actually now positioned maybe even to flank and backstab them and get frags. So this is getting a bit scary. And indeed, he does find his man, Nico. And he's able to get away as well. What a great job there from Sunny. Risky, but it's paid off.
He has an AK, but he had a Deagle out there. I don't know if I'm just going crazy here or what, but may not end up mattering. 30 seconds to go. And it looks as though OG will be forced into an A hit. They will ride or die on this decision. And Madden in a perfect position. Oh, this setup is looking way too solid, but that first kill is huge. And Stiko with the up and over grenade does a lot of damage, softens up a few targets, changes his position. Stiko now needs to hold on, and Mantu gets one, but that will not be good enough. And if he dies after time as well, this just goes from bad to worse. 3 seconds to play with. He holds his ground. They will be conceding the round, OG. It's like Mantu will at least save his AWP, so they can go for another buy, but we've reached that point. FPX are 1 round away from taking us to overtime.
You seem shocked. I mean, I've been on that, horse the whole time. So, just saying. But for real, that's obviously a bit of a joke. For real, though, it has been interesting just to see FPX grind their way back into this game after just looking like they were getting absolutely dominated in the entirety of the first half. And then even early on this half, they lost the first 4 rounds or something like that. It has been just crazy to see them really keep their composure and grind their way back. They've been aggressive and assertive on the CT side. It's gone well, but not this round. Alexa B, 2 huge entries back to OG 5v3. It's been a bit since we've had that situation come up, but it is here now, right in a key moment.
OG rushing straight downstairs. How many times do we see this? A comeback to 15-14, and then you lose. The classic. It's not over just yet. Stiko perched up above the bomb plant, tries to deny it, but goes down to the hands of Issa, and Alfarlik out in the open and awkward positions, gone down to Valda. It's looking good that OG will finally, after so many opportunities, after so many hurdles that they have slipped, tripped, and face planted over, it looks like they may be getting this wrapped up at 16-14. Sunny, try as he may, has to pull off a 1 versus 4 clutch. He has the AK-47, he has full HP, and he has a bit of utility, but that fuse on the bomb is ticking so quickly. He's a bit more damage to Mantu, that's all well and good, but the time itself is going to work against him. It's effectively a 1v3 in that respect. Down goes the smoke, tickles the bomb, spray out. He has to just hope for the best. It's not going to happen. OG will be taking the map, but my God, was it late.